People really dislike HOAs, and I think it's because they have a hard time telling whether they are helping the neighborhood by keeping property values high or ruining the neighborhood by being a nuisance to the homeowner with petty fees and strict rules.
Too tall, citation. How tall is this grass? Too tall, citation.
What I've come to the conclusion of while researching for this video is both things can be true at the same time. Also, I would love it if you guys sound off in the comments with your own experiences with the HOA. Also, I'm gonna miss some things. I'm gonna get some things wrong. So feel free to fact check me and correct me where I'm wrong. Like, we're all here to learn together. Let's dive a little deeper. Right now in Texas, around 20% of residents live under the rules of an HOA. So today we're going to talk about why people hate them, what Texas has done as a state to limit their power, and what you can do as a homeowner to make sure that the HOA is working for you and not the other way around. This is not a video to bash HOAs. I have one. Sometimes I like it, and other times, like when my neighbor built a non-compliant structure in the backyard and nothing happened because she was buddies with the board members of the HOA, well, that's a story for another time. So HOAs were put in place in the post-World War II housing boom. And they were there so that the community could come together and do their best to keep property values high. They were also put in place to keep a certain type of individual out of the community.
Black people.
And crazy thing is, you can still find these racial covenants on the books today. Now, they're not actually being enforced, but it is a poignant history lesson to let you know the function of some of these HOAs in the past. One of the most common no's that I get from home buyers looking to either relocate to Texas or just buy a new home is, I don't want an HOA. It's a deal breaker for me. Do not put me in an HOA neighborhood. But what's even wilder is over 66% of the new housing developments built in Texas are governed by an HOA. There are 21,000 associations in the state of Texas alone. So it's kind of hard to not find an HOA in certain areas. And in my opinion, an HOA is like the antithesis of what Texas itself stands for. Like, Texas is known for its independent spirit. And for the people who own land here, they really want to control the land that they own. And HOAs are the polar opposite of that. Now, these associations charge billions of dollars a year in order to cover operational costs and enforce the rules and also to manage common areas. But that money is not always spent the way it's supposed to be.
A warrant is now out for the arrest of the Marks Glen Inc. Maintenance Association's president, Kate Worth, for misapplication of fiduciary property. Someone with knowledge of the case told KPRC that the HOA debit card that only Worth had access to was used over 700 times to the tune of nearly $100,000.
I think it really sucks when people put themselves in a position to serve the community, but in the end, they're just there to serve themselves. And it seems like the frustration with HOAs has hit a fever pitch over the past few years, especially because people are tired of these surprise rules and fines that come out of nowhere. Like Kathleen Lowe, she's in the Houston area, and she was fined $250,000 for feeding the ducks. It's real, look it up. And yes, the HOA can foreclose on you and you can be evicted from your home. Just like Finda Karoma. She's in Mesquite, Texas, and she lived in her home for years and was eventually evicted because the HOA foreclosed on her home, sold it, and the new owners sent her an eviction notice. And you want to know how much she owed the HOA? Around $3,000. That's just sad. Now, Texas homeowners, you are not powerless in all of this because HOAs are controlled by the Texas Property Code. And there are plenty of chapters on assessments, fees, penalties, notice, transparency, and more. Now, I'm going to drop a free guide in the description to let you know about your rights when it comes to Texas homeowners associations. It can be your rule of thumb, but if you want to go a little deeper, seek legal counsel. Now, I got to commend the state of Texas because they are making steps to make sure that homeowners are protected, especially when it comes to foreclosure. Like, there is a whole lot of steps and procedures that an HOA has to take before they can foreclose on somebody. One is they have to make sure that they're given notice. And then the homeowner themselves, they have the right to cure the issue. And they also have rights to a hearing. And then after all of that, it actually goes to a judicial proceeding. So there are plenty of stopgaps along the way to make sure that homeowners don't lose their homes. We just have to be diligent in the process. Foreclosure becomes an option only after exhausting all other avenues like payment plans or alternative dispute resolutions. Texas also wants you to do mediation before you do litigation, which I think is great. There were brand new HOA-related laws put in place in January of 2024 because people are just tired of being treated any kind of way. Now, for my active duty service members, I know there's a lot of you that watch this channel. Now, there are actually protections for you from being foreclosed on by the HOA, and it's called the Service Members Civil Relief Act. Okay, so if you find yourself in hot water with the HOA, they're trying to kick you out of your place, go look up that act. There are resources and help for you. And I think the main solution here is that homeowners associations need more oversight and more accountability because they start to make the homeowners feel powerless. But it doesn't have to be that way, and you do have power in the situation. First, you got to know your rights. So go read the Texas Property Code, Google it. You don't have to read it word for word, but you can at least know what rights you have when it comes to homeowners associations, like the right to review financial records, so you can make sure ain't nobody stealing. Second, you gotta read the covenants and restrictions on your own neighborhood. I know a lot of people just get that document before they close on their house, never actually read through it, and then they're ticked off on the back end. Make sure you're doing your due diligence up front and that those restrictions and covenants are something you're okay with living in. HOAs have what is called CC&Rs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Those are the documents that describe what you can or cannot do with your home. Not to be confused with deed restrictions, because a house can have deed restrictions but not be in an HOA. But most HOAs have deed restrictions, if that helps. Third, get together with your neighbors, like actually form a community, go in and demand changes as a unit for your HOA. If you don't like the president, get a new president. If you don't like the management company, boot out the management company. If you want to put in rules and restrictions against there being too many rental properties in the area so that it can keep values higher, then do that. But you guys have to talk to each other. And I know Facebook groups are a great place for people to go and complain about things, but they're also a really good place for people to come together under one solid agenda to get things done in their HOA. Finally, when all else fails, go and seek legal counsel, okay? There are law firms that specialize in HOA cases, so you can find help. Yeah, it might be expensive, but it could be even more expensive if you're just throwing money to the HOA for violations and rules and annoyances that have no real merit in the first place. So remember, HOAs should work for you, not the other way around. And the only way to really defeat the evil HOAs of the world is to come together as a community for one common purpose. So it's starting to get a little hot out here, so I'm about to go inside. But as you know, I'm a real estate broker and a mortgage lender in the state of Texas. So it doesn't matter what your real estate goals are, whether you want to buy, sell, refinance, I can help. And I have a team of individuals in pretty much every city in Texas to get the job done. All right, just go down to the description. You can click a link, book some time with me. Let's talk about your real estate goals. And as usual, I appreciate you for watching. And there's more. There's more videos on the Texas housing market right over there. So check those out and I'll see you over there. All right, peace.